Welcome to Who Has Time to Read, the show where your hosts Jeff and Adam, that's me, dive into the pages of our favorite reads from the last month. Each episode, we explore a mix of bestsellers and hidden gems, sharing insights, surprises, and recommendations. Whether you're a lifelong reader or just looking for your next great book, you're in the right place. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's turn the page on today's episode of Who Has Time to Read. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Who Has Time to Read. I'm Adam Walker.
And I'm Jeff Hillemeyer.
And this episode is always brought to you by Ripples Media. If you want to publish your own book, you can do that with an incredibly supportive community at Ripples Media and Edgewise Media. If you want to create a podcast or vertical videos, go to Edgewise Media and learn how. So that's an easy promo. All right, Jeff, how's your month been?
It's been good. It's been a little while since we chatted. I've finished a lot of books, so I'm excited to talk about this. But I want to start with, what's your streak at now of days in a row that you've read for at least an hour?
I gotta pull up so I haven't finished today yet. I've only got 35 minutes in today. Current streak is at 573 days in a row. So
573. That's
573.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I think the last time we did this, I was like around 60 days. Okay. But I kind of look at the streak. First of all, if I had a streak like yours, I would keep it going for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
As I'm going to talk about in this episode, I'm reading a particular fiction series, and I'm reading so much of it that I'm blowing past an hour a day. And so, and that includes listening in the car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I stopped recording it. I also switched from iPhone to Android, and I was looking at different habit streak apps or whatever.
Right.
And I just was like, I want to use that personally to make sure that I do the thing.
Right.
And I'm doing the thing, so I don't need it right now. So I kind of stopped my streak. So it's a bit sad, but as I start to lose motivation,
the main thing is the carving out the time to do it, which it sounds like you're doing. So yeah, and that's my thing too, is like, but now because it's like so many days in a row, like it's so robust. I don't know what it is. I'm so into it now that I actually log the time that I read yesterday. Like I'll wake up each morning and log yesterday's reading time in a spreadsheet. And so I have a spreadsheet of all of the times for like the last probably 600 or 700 days total. Wow. Go out by year. It's crazy. It's too much. It's obsessive.
Yeah, but you're so far along. It's almost like pushing the button on Lost. You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of, it's like,
that hit home for you?
It was just such a good obscure reference that yes, I haven't thought about Lost and pushing the button in such a long time. Oh my God. Yes, that's precisely it. So, all right, let's go into like this month. What have you recently completed? Give me your first book.
Well, I do want to start by saying I recently completed a book that my 14-year-old, she's still 14, published. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
I've got another writer in the family. My daughter, Hannah, she writes like you can't believe. So I helped her publish her first book. It's on Amazon. It's called Assault in the Alleyway. So
nice. Okay.
It's like a teen murder mystery type thing.
Love it.
What's crazy is she has already written book 2, 3, and 4 in the series.
What?
So she's written 4 full books, just published 1 so far. So I did finish. I was her editor on the first one. And I told her that's the last one I'll be editing. So it's a lot of work. She's got a friend doing it, but yeah, that was pretty exciting to have her actually get a book out since the last time we talked.
That's amazing. I saw a post about it on social media. It's very exciting. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Congrats
so that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So my theme today is going to be fiction. I rarely read fiction, but when I do, I read a ton of it apparently. So,
okay. All right.
I've mostly been reading, Brandon Sanderson books. They're the fantasy books I've talked about before on this.
Yep.
I've gotten way into it, and his latest book is coming out, in December. And so I'm trying to read all the ones I need to that lead up to that one.
To get ready. So you could be like on the, nice.
Just crushing them. So that's been mostly what I've been reading. How about you? Bounce over to one of yours.
Let's see. One of mine. So I finished Indistractable, How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Nir Eyal. E-Y-A-L. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, but it was great. I mean, as you know, I have a bad habit of wanting to jump to too many things too quickly. And so it's helped me to sort of slow down. I've gotten actually quite a bit out of it. Like the biggest thing I've gotten out of it is time boxing, which I fundamentally understood for a very long period of time, which is like you have a task, set aside whatever time on your calendar to do it. But now I've started using an app that was recommended in this book called Sun Sama. And I literally pull my tasks in from my task app Todoist, and then I can drag them and drop them onto my calendar. And then it automatically blocks out the time on that calendar for the next day. And so literally when I want to like get productive tomorrow, I just look at my calendar. I'm just like, oh, at 10 o'clock, I got to do this. 10:15, I got to do this. 10:30, I got to do this. And I just boom, 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 go all the way down and I'm good to go. And I'm getting way more done, way more quickly. It's been fantastic.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
You read so many good, like your life's going to be better if you do the things in this books. I'm impressed with that. We've talked about this. I get too bored with them too quickly. And I shouldn't. And I always hear you talk about them. I'm like, I want to do that.
I think all of those books are somewhere between 25 to 75% fluff. So the ones that are 25% fluff, I can get through. The ones that are 75% fluff, I typically want to throw across a room. Right. I don't know what my threshold is for that, but yeah, that's the hard part about those books is like, there's a lot in them that doesn't necessarily need to be in them. So, yeah.
Well, that one sounds like it's working out. The other one I finished. So I've been reading to my 12-year-old for several years now, all the Timmy Failure books. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I'm not familiar with those at all.
Yeah. They're 4, he's 12, so it's fits for him, but it's, they're these little novels about this little kid named Timmy Failure, really funny. And so I think there's 7 or 8 of them, and we finished the series within the last month. So that was a fun moment for the two of us.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Reading the books, man. That's the way. Reading the books for kids.
All right. What about you? You got one more?
Yeah, let's see. Similar, same author, Hooked, How to Build Habit Forming Products. So I'm doing some consulting work with a product company, and then of course I've got Together Letters, which is also like a SaaS product company. And so I wanted to kind of figure out like, what should I be learning about this? And it's an older book, but interesting. Not a lot of direct takeaways from it, but just kind of like general ideas from it that are, I think, generally helpful when sort of marketing and planning products. So it was good. I think if you're not in products, probably don't read it, but it was good all in all.
But you liked it. So that's 2 from this same author. Are there other ones on the list that you're going to read from him?
No, I think that's probably the 2. Like those are his 2 main books. So I don't think there's anything else on the list from him. Not that I can think of anyway.
Got it.
This podcast is sponsored by Ripples.media. If you're an aspiring author looking to publish your first book, go to Ripples.media to find a community and publisher that can support you. This episode is also brought to you by Edgewise.media. If you want to create a podcast for yourself or for your business, or you need help with content creation, go to Edgewise.media to learn more.
All right. So what about now? What are you reading now?
Well, so I've actually kind of been like you, where for the last month, I've kind of went down this fiction rabbit hole. And so I've been reading a ton of fiction. So I read one book called The Object that was great. I read another one called The Fossil Book 1, which is great. Now I'm in The Fossil Book 2 by Joshua Calvert. And if you like science fiction, trips to Mars, that kind of stuff, like it's very well done, very well written. So I've been really enjoying that one a lot. That's my first one.
Okay. You must have read The Martian, right?
Oh man. Oh yeah. The Martian. And then his second book, which was, what was his second? I can't remember what it's called now all of a sudden, which was even better than The Martian.
Oh really? I didn't read the second one.
So I listened to the second one on Audible. It's probably in my top 5 books, like fiction books for sure, top 5.
Wow, like that's a great,
very, very well done. Now I got to look up what the title is now. Let's see.
My understanding is that he started posting. Didn't he start posting chapters on Reddit? That's how he wrote that Martian.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he started posting chapters on Reddit, and then it just turned into, the Martian. And then and what I really like about his books is that they are incredibly factual from a scientific perspective. And so like everything in it is extremely well. It's Andy Weir. Andy Weir is the author. So everything in it is extremely well researched. And the engineering and the science behind it's fantastic. So the book I was just mentioning is Project Hail Mary, which was just, it's got 131,000 reviews on Amazon, 4.5 stars. Like it is so good. So I would strongly recommend Project Hail Mary.
So when you talk about like the fossil, is it similar or is it more science fiction-y? Like is it?
So The Martian was science fiction in the sense that like it wasn't alien science fiction. Right. It was just like science on Mars science fiction. Right. Project Hail Mary is more on the alien type side. So I would say the fossil is more like that. More like Project Hail Mary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's great. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm currently reading the Brandon Sanderson book that I mentioned. He's got in December he's got a couple different series, and I'm in book 6 of 7 of one series called Mistborn. Okay. It's fairly complicated to describe, but I think you're going to start maybe reading the first.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start on Audible. I've discovered I really love fiction books on Audible, because then I can sort of get lost in doing like chores or walking the dog. Like I can sort of do tasks and get lost in the book while I'm doing the task, and it sort of makes everything more enjoyable. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think you're going to like it. I'll be interested to hear. So been reading that, and then I started reading. I basically there's 3 authors I read that are fiction. Brandon Sanderson, which is the fantasy. It's the only sort of fantasy thing I read. Yeah. Stephen King, whenever he has a new book out, and then an author called John Sanford, who writes it's like a sort of a detective cop type book.
Okay. All right.
Like 27 books in or something to that. Anyways, so I'm reading Stephen King, Billy Summers. I had missed this somehow. I think it came out in 2021. I think people have this idea that Stephen King's like horror and only horror. And I've read probably more Stephen King than I've read of any other author, and basically almost no horror.
Yeah, he's so prolific. I mean, you could read a ton of his works and never get into horror.
And never get into the horror and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I will read it, but like I haven't even read it, but I will read that. Anyway, so Billy Summers, so far that's been interesting. And then I've just got a handful of Warren Buffett books that I have on the Kindle Scribe that I flip between, and I'll read a chapter here, chapter there. So but mostly fiction right now. It's kind of a strange
Yeah, it's weird for you, man. I don't know how to take that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Something's off.
The last book that I'm currently reading, I just started it. It's very long. It's maybe a little too long, but it's On the Edge, The Art of Risking Everything by Nate Silver. So Nate Silver is the guy that started the 538 podcast. He does all the political analysis and sets up the models, and he sold it a couple years ago. But what I did not know about him is that he was a professional poker player before he did that.
Interesting.
And he ended up getting into political forecast modeling based on his experience kind of in the gambling world, and because he got kind of annoyed by some laws that happened. He was like, I'm going to figure all this out. Anyway, so it's fascinating because he kind of goes into, he calls it the river and the village. And the river are sort of these risk taker, gambler, poker player type, entrepreneur types. And the village are sort of like average citizens, corporate jobs. Like that's what, and he draws a lot of interesting juxtaposition between the two, explains some politics between the two. I'm in the opening chapters right now where he's really talking heavily about poker and poker theory, which it's a little too deep, I think. But it's good. It's just a lot. I think it's going to take me at least a solid month just to get through the whole book. Like it's just a lot.
You're reading that on Kindle?
I'm reading that on Kindle. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So, not a lot of highlights yet, but like, it's interesting. It's a lot of interesting stories, but again, like just, I'm not sure I think if I can get through the poker part, I can get into a lot of the more takeaway parts. But, and I will say this too, like the way that poker players think about decision-making, I find tends to be very, very helpful in my own decision making, and so I'm hoping to kind of glean some things from that as well. So, like Annie Duke's books are amazing. So,
I love it. All right. Well, I think that's our show.
Yeah. Anything else going on? That's it. Wrap it up. We're good.
I mean, I'm reading fiction. That's it.
All right.
Yeah. Listening, reading, whatever.
Doing the thing.
So.
All right. That's good, man. Well, that was fun. And we'll do it again next month.
Yep. See you then.
That's all for today's episode of Who Has Time to Read? Thanks for joining us on this literary journey. If you enjoyed our bookish banter and discovered some new reads, please take a moment to rate us on your favorite podcast platform and share this episode with your friends and fellow book lovers on social media. Your support helps us reach more listeners and keep the conversations going. So until next time, keep turning those pages, and we'll be back soon with more books to share on Who Has Time to Read?